If you click this video, then you're looking for an AI tool that could potentially change your life. And if that's the case, then you are in the right place, because that is what we're about to do. We're going to walk you through an AI tool that can create an entire application just based off an idea. And as amazing as that sounds, it can be challenging. So we're also going to walk you through a process in which you can turn this vague idea into the real working product. So come on, let's go. So this Base44, what is it truly all about? Well, it says we can create full applications without coding. This tool integrates database management, authentication, messaging, and analysis functions, so you can quickly turn your ideas into functional products. So with Base44, you do have to pay for this service, but when you pay, what do you get? Is it worth it? Well, you know that feeling when you have a brilliant app idea but the thought of connecting a database, an authentication system, and a front end makes you want an app instead? We've all been there. However, this tool Base44 has been making serious waves in the no-code community. This is especially true after Wix acquired the 6-month-old bootstrap startup for $80 million in June of 2025. This is an interesting point because it's trying to relate to developers specifically, right? You know that feeling when you have a brilliant app idea, but the thought of connecting a database, an authentication system, a front end, like me personally, I use this pretty regularly now, and I didn't know any of that existed, and to this day, I still am not fully aware of this process that they're referring to. It does sound like a lot of work, but I've never had to do it. I've never developed apps with code before any of these softwares have been created. So you don't need to relate to this in order to still make use of this application. So vibe coding with backend. Everyone's talking about vibe coding these days. The concept is simple. Write plain English and build software. But most tools still force you to connect external databases like Supabase or Firebase. Base44 takes a different approach. It handles everything. And when they say that, they mean everything. I've used Replit, and then I've got stuck in Firebase and trying to connect all these different things, and then I ended up not being able to finish. So with Base44, you really don't have to worry about anything besides describing what it is you need. And that is something that we're going to look into that. At the end of this video, the last thing we're going to do in this video after we run through what Base44 can do, maybe try out just from a rough idea, try and build an app. I'm also going to show you all these different applications that I have developed and what they came from, what I did, how I explained my application in order to yield the result that I did get. So what is Base44 again? It's an AI-powered app builder that turns natural language prompts into fully functional web applications. And unlike its rivals that focus mainly on interface, Base44 builds the full stack instantly. The platform automatically generates the backend, front-end, database, authentication, and deployment of infrastructure based on what you describe. Again, you don't have to worry about anything. So Wix's no-code app builder. You can think of it as the Squarespace of AI coding. In fact, you don't manage servers or API keys. You simply tell the AI what you want, and it picks the best model, usually switching between Claude Sonnet and Gemini 2.5 Pro to write code for you. Base44 will retain its identity and continue operating as a distinct product and business unit within Wix. This allows the Base44 team to maintain product authenticity while tapping into Wix's robust resources. So let's watch this quick video on Base44 in action.
What if I could build my ideal hiring app with Base44? Hiring is chaotic. Resumes, conversation, disconnected systems. Today, I can finally build an app shaped around the way we work, tailored with our pipelines, workflows, and total visibility. Making an offer is...
So some of the main features and use cases. The text-to-app generator. This is the heart of the system. You arrive at a chat interface, then you type, I want an app to manage a fleet of electric bikes with GPS tracking. Base44 starts coding. The all-in-one backend engine. Most AI builders generate a pretty interface, but leave you stranded when it comes to saving data. Base44 is different. When you ask for a real estate CRM, it automatically creates the database tables for properties, agents, and clients. Base44's unique approach offers a fully automated chat-based interface that manages technical details behind the scenes, from databases and authentication to development. And you don't have to touch a single line of SQL, which is SQL is something that in coding class people spend an entire quarter, potentially if you're in the quarter system, or semester, maybe even. It is a whole chunk of curriculum within an entire degree. So not even having to touch a line of that, it's actually kind of startling and really just powerful. It's a very powerful tool. So with visual styling and vibe control, one feature we absolutely loved was the styling instruction system. Instead of fighting with CSS, you can give the AI a design direction. We typed claymorphism for our test app, and the builder instantly applied those soft 3D style rounded corners and shadows. You can also select any element on the screen to change colors or text directly, just like editing a slide deck. So we have smart integrations. We did touch on this, but no API nightmares. And from firsthand experience, when it does need an API, it will tell you exactly what API it needs. It'll tell you exactly what website, down to the URL, so you can copy and paste it into your browser, which is where I use Base44. And you go to that website and you get your API most of the time for free, or you might have to load a little bit of money in order to use the API if it isn't free. But it has pre-built connectors for things like emails, SMS, or analyzing images. The only APIs I've had to connect were like Nano Banana, for example, or if I wanted to use a specific AI model, I've had to integrate it through that. Since these run on integration credits, you don't have to set up your own SendGrid or Twilio accounts for basic prototypes. It creates a seamless experience for building MVPs that actually talk to the outside world. And it does have integration with numerous applications. Let's see. Developed an integration system that generates smooth configuration with any manual steps. And here are a list of some of these possible integration. Salesforce, Notion, Slack, Google Calendar, Google Drive, HubSpot, Google Sheets, Google Slides. There's so many good integrations, which is an indication that, out of all of these different softwares, no code or low code softwares, these integrations are very important for longevity. If an application is really good, it's better than a lot of these other applications, but it doesn't have these key integrations. Slack. Everybody uses Slack that runs any sort of operation, really. It's either Slack or Microsoft Teams. So for Slack to be integrated, Notion is a really cool one that hasn't really been used enough. Salesforce, one of the biggest companies. Google, one of the biggest companies. All the Googles are integrated. Calendar, Drive, Sheets, Slides. These are very important integrations. So how can you as a user get started? Well, it's shockingly simple. You don't require a computer science degree. All you need is a clear idea. So you start with a detailed description. For example, build a job board for freelance designers where companies can post listings and applicants can upload portfolios. The refinement. A live version in just about a minute. You likely see small errors or text you want to change. Change the apply button to blue or add a filter for remote jobs. Then the data check. Open a built-in database viewer to see your tables. You can add dummy data to test how the app looks when it is full of content. And then you publish. Just like that. Hit one button. You deploy. Your app gets a live URL instantly. And if you're on a paid plan, you can connect your custom domain right away. So advantages and concrete benefits. After building 3 distinct apps, here's your honest assessment of the strengths and weaknesses. Let's start with the pros. Speed to getting your application live. You get to work in backend immediately, no time wasted setting up Supabase or Firebase, which does take a lot of time. The design quality, the default UI components look modern and professional, not like a generic bootstrap template, which I beg to differ. I think the default for this is very default and generic looking, but I will give it to them to change these things. And if you are specific on what it is you want, it's very, very good at creating something original. Then we have the integrated authentication, login and registration work out of the box. And then we have the Wix backing. And since the Wix acquisition, Base44's user base has grown nearly sevenfold to over 2 million users. It's now on track to generate at least 50 million APR by the end of 2025. It's going to stick around, like I said. It has these huge partnerships, these huge integrations that these are the companies that stay on top. The ones that go on top early typically stay on top. Going back to the dot-com bubble, obviously we look at things like AOL that completely disappeared. And what happened? Obviously, AOL got bought out, it migrated. So obviously that's always a possibility. I'm not saying this is like the one. This is going to be it. There's so many out there right now. But to have these integrations is pretty much necessary. So the cons. Moving on to the cons. The platform lock-in. Since the database is internal, migrating away is harder with modular tools. Then there's credit consumption. Complex props burn through your monthly message credits very quickly, which this could be fixed just with user comfortability. Using this program over time, I think could get you to a point where you're very efficient with your credits. And then lastly, not enterprise ready. While it's great for internal tools and MVPs, it lacks granular permission controls for massive organizations. So if you're here and you're a massive organization watching this, number one, I'm very surprised. Number two, you probably have a team of coders and stuff already that are probably using a more advanced, more low code. This is more no code. So this is like if you're building something for your employees or for a workflow that you have or just for fun, and you're trying to create something fun that you could sell and hopefully potentially go viral. That's what this platform is for. So we do have the pricing. So we have the free plan. You get about 25 message credits per month, which is not much. I think today I've used like 13 just today. But start with the free, then we have the starter plan, which bumps you up to 100 message credits, which is good for hobbyists and maintaining one or two small apps. Then we have the builder, which is 40 to 50 a month. It's a sweet spot, really, and I do agree with that. 250 credits plus access to backend functions and custom domains. Essential if you want to launch a product publicly. And then we have the Pro and Elite for agencies or heavy builders requiring massive credit limits and priority support. So who is this tool best for? We believe it fits a specific type of creator perfectly. Solo founders and entrepreneurs. If you have an idea and you want to validate it by Friday, this is your tool. The all-in-one nature saves you from integration hell. Internal tool builders, operations managers who require a custom dashboard for a team can build one in an afternoon without bothering the engineering department. Then there's non-technical creatives. If you understand logic, you cannot write code. The natural language interface bridges the gap beautifully. So of course, like I've mentioned, there's a lot of alternatives to Base44. So let's look into the comparison, how they compare to some of the tops. Lovable. Lovable is the closest competitor in terms of text app quality. It often generates slightly better initial UI design and feels a bit faster. However, Lovable relies on you connecting the Supabase account for database. If you prefer keeping your data separate from your front-end builder, Lovable might be a better choice for pure convenience. Base44 wins. Bolt is fantastic, but leans more towards developers. It gives a full development environment in your browser. If you're planning to export your code and have a team of engineers work on it later, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier, this is one of those more advanced platforms. Bolt provides a more standard coding workflow. Base44 abstracts more of the complexity away, makes it a friendlier for total beginners. So again, if you're here and you're not a beginner, number one, I'm surprised. Number two, some of these other ones, they're looking pretty juicy for a seasoned developer. Then we have Bubble, which is the grandfather of no code. So this is really what we're looking for here. It's incredibly powerful and pixel perfect, but the learning curve is steep. You have to learn their specific logic editor. Base44 is much faster to start with, but Bubble is still the king for massive, complex applications that require total control over every pixel and workflow. So if you get to a point where, this platform it's a little too restricting, Bubble is probably the next line of order for you. Then we have a comparison table. You can look at that if you want. But as you could tell, each of these are fairly different. And the one thing that Base44 is good for is what I'm selling it to you guys as. And that is a beginner, no-code platform that can turn your ideas into an application. It's that simple. So here's a conclusion. It's impressed us. In a market flooded with AI tools that deliver broken code, this platform actually delivers a functioning product. Got that right. The decision to integrate the database and authentication directly into the platform is a massive time saver. Anyone who wants to build without managing a tech stack will appreciate this. Base44, a bootstrapped AI startup, was acquired by Wix in roughly 500 days. That gives us confidence this is not just a flash in the pan. While it might not replace a team of senior engineers, not this one specifically, for a Fortune 500 banking app, it's arguably the best way to go from napkin sketch to working product 2026. If you have an idea that's been sitting in your notes for months, give the free plan a spin. You might surprise yourself with what you can build before dinner. What we're going to go into next is straight to, well, that's crazy. You search Base44 and then Replit comes on top. And Replit is one of the ones where it's very similar to Base44, but it does require you to do a lot more, and it's not integrated like Base44 is, turning your ideas into apps. So we are finally here. We are at the point in this episode when I walk through some of the applications that I have built. And if we look at this application, as you can see, it's a pretty cool application, and its purpose is as follows. Imagine an app that doesn't just entertain or inform, it fundamentally challenges your perception of reality, identity, and the multiverse. Let's call it Quantum Nexus. This isn't the run-of-the-mill social feed or productivity tool. It's a portal that simulates branching parallel universes based on your life's what-if moments. Powered by advanced AI that weaves quantum-inspired narratives into an ever-evolving personal cosmos. The app's AI, drawing from quantum mechanics concepts like superposition and entanglement, but simplified for fun, generates a personalized nexus thread, branching narrative of an alternative you living out that path. These aren't static stories, they're dynamic simulations that evolve over time based on your ongoing inputs. For instance, if you echo a new detail the next day, it ripples back through your nexus, altering past events in butterfly effect style, creating infinite variations. The AI pulls from real-world data, ethical, anonymized sources, to make these simulations feel eerily plausible, incorporating current events, cultural shifts, or even personalized elements like your uploaded photos, voice notes, or location data to visualize you in these worlds. Users return daily to nurture their multiverse, watching stories unfold like an interactive novel that adapts to global news or personal moods. Social entanglement, share anonymized threads with friends or a global community where others can entangle their echoes with yours, merging universes into collaborative narratives. Insight oracles, Beyond fun, the app analyzes your Nexus for patterns, offering oracle readings. AI-generated insights, like in 72% of universes, pursuing creativity leads to higher fulfillment, backed by subtle psychological frameworks. It's not therapy, but it encourages users to revisit for growth, perhaps integrating AR filters to try on alternate selves via your phone camera or VR modes for immersive dives into these worlds. This stretches what's possible by questioning free will and existence itself. Is the real you just one thread in an infinite tapestry? No app has truly simulated personal multiverses at this scale. Most AR VR experiences are linear games, and journaling apps are mundane. Quantum Nexus breaks that by using cutting-edge AI, think generative models evolving in real time, to create something hypnotic and profound, with users hooked on the thrill of discovery and the quiet value of introspection. It's entertaining like a choose-your-own-adventure on steroids, valuable like a digital therapist meets philosopher, and repeatable because your Nexus grows with you forever, expanding, never static. This sparks your imagination. We could refine it further or even explore building a prototype. What twist would you add to make it even more boundary shattering? And then it said, here's my plan for building Quantum Nexus. Personal multiverse explorer that turns your what if moments into branching alternate life narratives. And it went through, designed the actual app, and then it said, let me build a prototype. And then it built that prototype, and then it created this beautiful, stunning design. There are my shards. I have a universe, and your multiverse awaits. Every choice spawns a universe. Echo your what if moments and watch alternate realities unfold across infinite threads. And then you could see there's daily challenge. What if at midnight tonight you could undo one decision from the past year? What would it be? So it's just kind of trying to create your multiverse. And as you can see, I have the scholarly path. So there was a decision in my life that in my mind was one of the most pivotal moments. And it was when I was academically disqualified from school, and instead of choosing to go back and continue to pursue that, I decided to get a 9-to-5 job to pay the bills and then to pursue my dreams. So I had told it about it, and then it created the alternate universe where second chances reside in the faint glow of fluorescent lights and the rustle of worn textbooks. You step through the doors of Milford Community College, anxious yet determined. The air was thick with the smell of fresh paper and coffee from the campus cafe, comforting scene that mingled with the whispers of fellow students. Okay. So as you can see, goes through, gives me a timeline. 1 year. Boom. Enrolled in the community college. 3 months. Completed first semesters. Then after 2 years, graduated. Then after a year, secured a fulfilling job in educational content creation, which is eerily similar to like something that I think I would potentially end up in, which is quite intriguing. But as you can see, so we have the actual Nexus, my multiverse. Then we have the Echo. So we want to add another Echo. And then there's my galaxy, so all my echoes that I have created. And then we have the Oracle, which analyze your pattern across your one universe. So I wouldn't want to do this until I've created more. But then there's also challenges, the midnight decision. And you get shards for this, which shards are what help you keep the multiverse alive, help you keep it from dissolving. And if you don't like one of them, if you think it's pretty too far off or whatever, then you could just let it disintegrate into time. Then there's the quantum stranger. What if you had struck up a conversation with that stranger you noticed but never spoke to? Road not taken. What if you chose a completely different career path? Butterfly moment. What if a tiny childhood event had gone differently? A different school, a missed bus, a chance encounter, parallel love. What if you had said yes or no to the pivotal relationship moment? Creative divergence. What if you had pursued? And this is all created by the AI off of what I had tasked it with doing. So you can see this app is very powerful, very in-depth, and this was all created. Yeah, it wasn't a simple explanation. It was a massive explanation that was built through a bunch of brainstorming and an actual creative process. So let's go ahead and go to a different app. This one is called Pricewise, and I did develop this one for myself. I do reselling on the side, and so I did this so I can easily research without having to go to eBay, go to the research tab, check out, at what price certain things are selling. It takes a little bit of time. So how could I have sped this up? Oh, I don't have to search and sift through. I can simply search, I want to sell a PS4 bundle with 2 controllers and 4 games. So the price range is $100 to $400. So average is about $250. So brand new, you can sell it for $375. Like new, you could sell for $325. And then it goes to fair, about $175. Good, $225. So it gives you a very good idea based on the condition that your product is in. So if it's used and you've cleaned it and it's in good condition, you could probably list it for $225. And all of that was done with a much simpler prompt. So this one is, I need an app that enables the user to input any item in order to do product research. The price should be a breakdown of what price you could expect to sell the item for based on its respective condition. Include all if not stated. Use real-time price data to conclude the fair price and ensure the prices are accurate as possible. And this is what came of that. There is more. So let's go ahead and go through. I have so many different ones. I was looking into virtual fit, which as I was working on it, Google had integrated it into their Google Shopping, which kind of killed this idea. That was one of my first ideas. And then I have Memoria, which is a personal intelligence hub, captures key insights and it helps you build your memory. Your intelligence assistant for effortless scheduling and managing. Profit Pilot for flipping items, track purchases, manage sales. Is this the one I had used? Yeah, so this is the one I have actually used. And then goes through and I have all these hauls that I've bought different stuff and how much profit I've made from each one. And this one is really cool because so you would come to the app hypothetically, right? And then you would add a new find. And you would put at what price you bought it, the date you acquired, the category, sourcing haul, if that is an option. If you bought it with multiple things, and then you could even put it a little description if you want, flaws, details, and then you could put the condition. And then you can also put at which the status at which the item is. So it did all that from this. And you're seeing it all right here. Create an app that enables the user to upload items purchased with the intention of reselling the items for a profit. The purpose of the app is to easily track profits and visualize trends or patterns using intelligent AI agents. The input should be intuitive and simple with a striking modern mobile-based design, including item grouping as an option with buying and selling in mind. The app needs to create an addictive feel or gamified, if you will. Remember the purpose and be creative. And it really just hit a home run with this one. This one I use. It's beautiful. I love it. And it took not very long. And we got another one, thought-provoking AI chatbot companion. Let's see. And then we have Truth Serum. This one I was having difficulty with because of its lack of access to current information. But truth serum is clarity through verified facts. What truth are you seeking? Ask any question and receive a balanced fact-based response, grounded in evidence and historical wisdom. So this one's pretty simple because, you go into just ChatGPT or anything and you just search for something that you want to know the truth behind. There's a very good chance that you get a hallucination, or it doesn't answer the question that you were asking exactly. There's a lot of different possibilities for hallucinations or just outcomes that you weren't necessarily looking for. So let's do something simple. Is AI about to take over the world? Your question explores concerns about whether artificial intelligence is on the verge of dominating or taking over the world, a topic often fueled by media portrayals, sci-fi narratives, and debates about technological advancement. This reflects broader anxieties about rapid change in already polarized society. Based on the most current data as of February 17, 2026, there's no verifiable evidence that AI is about to take over the world in a literal sense, such as achieving independent sentience or global domination. AI systems, including advanced models like large language models, GPT series or equivalents, remain tools created and controlled by humans. They operate based on programmed algorithms and data inputs without true consciousness. While 52% of Americans express concern about AI societal impact, example, job displacement, which is undoubtedly happening, only 10% believe in imminent AI takeover scenarios, with experts largely dismissing them as speculative. 2024 institution analysis highlights that AI advancements are accelerating in areas like automation and decision making, but regulatory frameworks are evolving to mitigate risks. No peer-reviewed studies indicate AI systems gaining uncontrolled autonomy. Rand Corporation's 2025 study on AI risks notes potential challenges like bias in algorithms or economic disruption, but emphasizes human oversights as a key safeguard. As of now, AI-related incidents, deepfakes, algorithmic errors are human-driven, not indicative of machine rebellion. If new developments emerge post-2026, I recommend checking sources like these for updates, as AI evolves quickly but remains grounded in human design. So then it goes into exploring perspectives. From a techno-optimist perspective, often held by innovators and some libertarians, AI represent a boon for humanity, enhancing productivity, solving complex problems like climate change, and driving economic growth. They urge fears of takeover stem from misunderstanding, pointing to how AI can amplify human potential rather than replace it. AI raises alarms about unintended consequences such as widening inequality or loss of privacy. Progressives might emphasize ethical risks like biased AI perpetuating discrimination, while viewing takeover fears as a call for stronger regulations to protect vulnerable groups. Both sides share a value in human flourishing, but differ on the pace and governance of AI deployment. Optimists favor innovation with minimal interference, while skeptics prioritize safeguard to prevent harm. So, historical wisdom. History offers valuable lessons to counter fear-mongering around technological change, reminding us that overreaction to innovation has often led to unnecessary division rather than progress. For instance, during the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, fears of machines taking over jobs sparked Luddite rebellions and social unrest. Yet, it ultimately led to widespread prosperity and new opportunities through adaptation and policy reforms. Similarly, in the 20th century, the rise of computers prompted McCarthyism, like paranoia about automation and surveillance, but evidence-based approaches like education and retraining programs help societies integrate these tools without catastrophe. Drawing from Aristotle's golden mean, we can balance extremes. neither unchecked enthusiasms nor paralyzing fear, but a moderated path informed by facts. Nelson Mandela's Past Apartheid Truth and Reconciliation Commissions shows how dialogue over division heals societies facing transformative change, much like today's AI debates. By learning from these, we avoid historical pitfalls like the overblown Y2K panic of 1999, where fear of technological collapse proved unfounded, and instead focused on collaborative solutions that strengthened communities. While opinions on AI differ, evidence shows potential for compromise in areas like ethical development and equitable access. Common ground exists in shared values such as security, protecting against misuse, and prosperity, using AI for job creation in fields like healthcare. For example, bipartisan efforts in U.S. Congress, as seen in 2025 AI Safety Act, demonstrate how diverging idealisms can unite around regulations that foster innovation while addressing risk. Accepting these differences is natural, much like debates over past technologies, allow us to build a stronger nation by prioritizing human-centered AI that benefits all. To bridge divides on these issues, consider discussing AI's role with someone holding a different view, using shared facts from sources like Pew or Brookings as a starting point. Historical examples suggest focusing on common goals, such as workforce training programs, can reduce tensions and promote unity. What aspect of AI concerns you most? Jobs, ethics, something else? I'm here to explore it further with evidence-based insights. So that is Base44. It's pretty much what it can do, the types of things it can create, and I've given you what you might need to input in order to yield certain different results within this platform. So one last thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the most popular ChatGPT, and we're going to go ahead and ask it the same exact question that we did just ask Truth Serum, which was created with Base44. See how the result differs. Is AI about to take over the world? So this one straight up comes out with a no. Not in the literal, AI becomes a self-directed ruler sense and not eminently. What is happening is more mundane and more important. AI is rapidly becoming a powerful, widely deployed technology that can shift economic power. Military I feel like a takeover, but it's still people and institutions wielding systems often poorly governed. So it's really, see, this one is already just kind of saying, oh no, it's people. That's the problem. It's not AI. While a literal AI takeover isn't around the corner, AI lacks agency by default. Current systems don't have independent goals, legal authority, money, guaranteed access. They're brittle outside their lanes. Even strong models can hallucinate, misunderstand context, or fail in novel situations. Human systems still run the levers, infrastructure, laws, org charts, procurement, mostly human control. The real risk that can look like takeover, concentration of power, small number of companies, governments controlling high-end AI data, reshape markets and politics. Information manipulation at scale, cheap convincing content can distort public trust and elections. So as you can see, this is almost reiterating that, a takeover might look like what's exactly happening in the world right now. It's just there's no safeguards. It's not focused on giving a grounded result. It's focused on giving the result that you think that it thinks you want. And so the truth serum is pretty much let's not try and figure out what you want to hear. Let's just give you the facts and everything. See, this is almost divisive. Who controls AI? Who benefits? Who's harmed? And what rules constrain its use? So just a friendly quick reminder before we do end this video. These are all apps that I've created very quickly and very easily with just describing what I need. So could this change your life? Absolutely. I think a lot of these AI tools can change a lot of people's lives, or can change a few people's lives, but the main difference, the main thing that sets tools like this apart or sets people using these tools apart from other people is what you put in. You get out what you put in. So if you put in a lot of effort, if you put in a lot of energy into this ecosystem, you'll probably get a really wonderful, awesome result. But if you don't put a lot of effort, if you half-ass, if you just come here and expect, I'll just describe something super simple and then become a millionaire, obviously that's never going to work. Never forget that. You get out what you put in. So until next time, everybody, please drop a like, subscribe if you want more AI tool rundowns. Spread love, not hate.